What up, what up, what up? What is happening, good people? Welcome to this Monday live edition of Herb and Two alongside the illustrious Tucson Warner. My name is Herb Howard. So we get together every Monday and Friday and some points in between to talk about issues that currently impact the black community. We talk about how those issues impact us as individuals and also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through these issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, at least for the sake of this conversation, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible. We would kindly request that you please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video. There'll be a lot of people watching the show, not a lot of people liking it. That thumbs up helps us a lot. So please take a quick second to like the video and share it within your network with anybody that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation. Again, this is Herb and Two. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. Two, I missed you, good brother.
I missed you too, dog. How you been, my nigga?
I'm straight, man. I'm straight, man. I was out of the studio last week. I was out of town. Shot down to Orlando for NFL annual league meetings. Billionaires different, dog. Specifically, old billionaire white men, different.
Are they different, or is that just their behavior?
I'm saying their behavior is different. they behave different. Like you talk about, like, oh, young dudes be wild, no black dudes be wild. Like, nobody can wow like them. There's
no consequences to the behavior.
There's no consequences.
Puffy.
Yes, there's consequence to your behavior, sir. Not theirs though. They can do whatever they want. They different. Like I say, y'all wild, man. I'm sitting and it was on some levels like they certainly know that they are the top 0.1%, right? Mm-hmm. But on some levels they talk like they don't. Like I was at the bar one night and I was just sitting there chilling, and Steve Bisciotti is the Baltimore Ravens owner. And he comes, he's sitting next to me, he's like, yo, what you drinking? I'm like, man, I'm having an old fashioned. He like, give me what he having. I'm like, watch out for that bartender. He poured heavy, right? He like, well, we gonna be drunk, right? Whatever. So we talking, he cool, whatever. But then he get to talking to me like we speak the same language. He saying stuff like, man, my goddamn jet was acting up. You know what I'm saying? My fucking pilot was late. You know what I mean? No, nigga, I don't know what you mean. Like, I do not know what you mean. My jet was whatever Southwest made it to be. I don't know what the hell.
I'm still scared of flying Boeing. These parts might fall off. Fuck is you talking about?
My jet was acting up. I might have to get a new one. You might have to get a new one. Okay, cool. It's just stuff like that. I'm like, there go Robert Kraft over there. Go talk to him about your jet acting up, man.
Man, I had a very, very interesting conversation with one of them kind of guys one time, right? He just took a liking to me, man. And this was like at the height of the corn, the height of the nation going up in flames, right? And at the time I was antagonizing Rahm Emanuel. So what Rahm Emanuel did was he put me in tune with the 1% of the elite class of Chicago, right? Dude invited me to a lunch one time. Mm-hmm. First of all, the lunch was like crazy, right? So I go to this little restaurant downtown that I've walked past 18 billion times, never knowing it was a restaurant.
It was bustling enough too.
So I walk in the door, and when I walked in the door, it's like time stopped, right? Like the room stopped, like, he ain't supposed to be in here. You know what I mean? I felt that energy, right? So I gave a quick look around the room to see if I could find who I was looking for. Couldn't see him. I walked out because I felt so uncomfortable, right? He calls me, he walks up, we walk in together. It's like cheers. Everybody knows his name.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Now I'm welcome.
Now you're good.
Because I'm with him. But before that, it was legitimately like time stop. Like, the fuck is you doing in here? You know what I mean?
Different, man.
And one of the things that happened in that conversation, man, the man said something to me and I was kind of confused by what he was saying. But he was like, man, what's the chances of me and you being here today? And I was like, shit, I don't know, 50-50, I guess. You invited me. My mind.
Right.
But he was talking about from the perspective of who he was versus who I am.
Right.
It just was really, really interesting. It just, the bravado, the arrogance, the world is mine kind of, and it is.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is in a real way.
It was very, very interesting.
Nah, man, I had a good time down there though, man. Shout out to the league. They threw a great party. Apparently every year they throw this party, and it was Monday night, which is the interesting thing about the party being Monday night, was the activities start so early in the morning. Like, we had access to the Bears president, Kevin Warren, I think at 7 a.m., right? We had a 7 a.m. conversation with him back at the hotel. And it was like, the party, and we just left. We just, you know what I mean? But the party was, it was off the chain. It was like on the back line at the Ritz-Carlton. And because that's all, I mean, all the whole thing was at the Ritz, but the party was on the back line, and it was laid out stupid crazy, like 20 different open bars, any kind of food you could possibly imagine on all these different stations, plus people with the hors d'oeuvres and shit. It had a big ass band out there, like it was nuts. As soon as I come out the back door to go to the line, first person I see right at the door, Vince Carter. I'm like, why are you even here? But I'm like, but it's Vince Carter though. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. So it's too early for me to tweak out like that. So I just walk right past, like, whatever. Like, this is nuts. But then you just get into it, and everybody's there, bro. I could name people forever. Everybody's there, and it was like, yo, this is nuts, right? And so at first I'm just chilling. I see the people I know, and they like, man, they like, it's your first one? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they like, this crazy. Like, just cool out for a minute. Like, watch. And you know, as daylight, you know, gives way to nightfall, and the drinks been different kind of people, G. I say, y'all are.
Wow. It was the puffy party. The party. It was the party. It's the party. Wow. A lot of people been to the party.
They ain't been to the
party. It's a different thing to go to the party.
I think the party is probably upstairs after the party. You know what I'm saying? This is the party. The party happened upstairs. Nobody commissioned me for the party. Thank God.
Thank God.
Nah,
I have other questions.
Nah, it was all cool though, man. It was super cool, man. Had a good time, and it was hard work though, man. But it was cool, man. But just getting up super early every morning and then kicking it with them all night. Because I mean, the party was one day, but every night it was like
a party.
You convene at the bar or in the restaurant or whatever, and it's like, yo, y'all just do this, huh? Y'all, and I'm not a stranger to hanging out and drinking, but.
But there's another part to that too that we don't recognize and we don't even understand because we don't get invited to the party.
Yeah.
They're also doing business.
Oh,
it's $1 million, billion deals happening at the bar.
It's all happening right there.
Yeah, it's all happening right there.
Yeah, people imagine these like, oh, this at the board meeting, everybody suited and booted. No. The board meeting is just the official stamping of the conversation we had last night.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When we was half hammered. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
On the golf course. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a bunch of handshake agreements.
Yeah, that's all that kind of stuff was happening right there. This other dude, this black dude actually, man, one night I'm sitting at the bar, he comes sit down next to me, he like, yo, you here for the league meetings? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you are too? He like, kinda. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, brother. Like, what you mean kinda? He like, I sell private jets.
He there for the league
meetings.
Oh,
you are in the right place. You're talking to the wrong person, but you are in the right place, sir. Like you are in the right place, man. So he had me cracking up because I saw him next night at the party. He working around trying to work the room, whatever. I'm like, it's going straight. He's like, man, it's going smooth. He's like, I just talked to this owner and that owner. He was like, Vince said he might
sold 5.
I was like, I told you, clearly you knew you was in the right spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm be in Chicago in 3 weeks. It's a he like hit me up. I'm gonna be in Chicago in like 3 weeks. It's a private jet convention. I said, did you not hear what I said to you, sir? Like, just hit me up, man. Maybe you show me something. I'm like, cool. He's like, plus, well, we talked a little bit and stuff too on the side, but yeah, he was cool. But it was just funny, like the type of conversations that just sprung up out of nowhere with all these different kind of people was like, wait, what? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? But it was a good time, man. It's a rare occasion to have the entire league descend upon one space in mostly informal settings. And just kind of chopping it up. Like some of the people I had dinner with just randomly was just like.
Think about it, the players there's probably the poorest people in the room.
They ain't even there. I only saw like 3 active players maybe. They not even there. They gone on their own business, whatever. It's the off season for them. But it's all the owners, all the head coaches, all the GMs, scouts, wives. Like it was the commissioner, Roger Goodell.
The business part of the NFL.
All of that. Players ain't got nothing to do with it. They ain't got no business here. You know what I'm saying? But it was cool though, man. Mike Tomlin, shout out to Mike Tomlin. He was super cool, man. That was the first time I actually met him before, and I'm a big fan of his, so it was cool. I was like, man, you gotta start sending the Bears a Christmas card or something every year, boy, because every time they call your phone, you smoke them on the deal, boy. So, but nah, it was cool, man. It was cool.
Under the Miss You Act, we got an opportunity to kind of dispel my homophobia.
I saw
last week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if y'all just spelled it.
I think we did.
That was an interesting conversation.
Shout out to Anaya Brion, man. She came on for the Relationship Friday version of the show, man. Open, active member of the lesbian community.
Yeah.
Just dope person.
I thought she was pretty cool. I really wanted to be here for the episode for a lot of reasons for the main conversation, but it was something else I wanted to get into with her that maybe we get a chance to holler about a little later. But I thought she was dope, man. I've followed her a while since she used to perform by Temper 3K. I do put her music out like that, and now Aina Brian, like that's. But I thought she was dope. I thought y'all had real good conversations. I thought you and E was funny as hell for making fun of me in the beginning. Like we talking about how y'all opened the show. You're like, you know what? First Mike don't really got no, like they don't.
You ain't get no opinion.
You don't get no opinion.
It's a sweet spot.
You get to have no perspective. You just
pass.
Just bring your point pass to you.
Just pass. Fuck yourself.
I was cracking up watching that. I said, hell no. She said something that y'all didn't quite catch it, but you know it's different when you in the conversation versus just watching it. Mm-hmm. But she said something that I wanted y'all to like hold on, like what? She was like, because you said actually, you was like, man. He was like, I know, you know what I'm saying, gay people be born that way. He was like, 1 in 12 dogs is gay or whatever. He was like, it ain't really a choice. And she followed up and she was like, it ain't a choice, because if it was a choice, I wouldn't know what she was about to say. Like, if it was a choice, what? You would be fucking with niggas? Like, if it was a choice, what? Like, I was like, so next time I see her, I'm sure I'm going to ask her that, like, if it was a choice, what?
Yeah, we got to do some more of that, man. I missed you in that conversation because we need that dynamic of, because I get wrapped up. I'm still B-Mike minded.
Yeah.
Right? So I get wrapped into the conversation, but there's other questions to propose to get different answers and different results, right? Mm-hmm. And just in the time constraints, you really don't get all the answers that you're really trying to get.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I didn't authentically dispel my homophobia, because we didn't get there yet.
That's what's up, man.
You know what I mean?
As y'all can see, the good brother Goddess Watts, a.k.a. Goddess Be Knowing Shit, is in the
Goddess Be Knowing Shit.
What's happening, good brother?
What's going on, y'all?
You straight, man?
I'm good.
Always good to have you in the building. Always good to chop it up with you, pick your brain about the immense wealth of knowledge that is Goddess Be Knowing Shit, man. So thanks for taking the time to come through, man.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
You know, Two have put out a call to know all the day ones has been rocking with us for a long time, and even people that's brand new, it's cool, whatever. But to hit us up if y'all want, if there was something y'all want to get into and chop up about, mm-hmm. and only you hit us up. Like sometimes other people will hit us up, but this time like only you hit us up. I don't think people think we really would let them come through, but y'all, it's family. Y'all can slide through. But I'm glad you chose to slide through, man.
Yeah. I mean, also too, I know y'all personally. So.
Yeah.
We got an informed community though, man. So we don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we interested.
I don't either.
In having more perspectives, right? And it's just our limited perspectives. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because I mean, like when we was on VON last time, I told you I learned a lot from you. And two as well, as much as y'all learn from me. So
all the time, like. We make fun of lately. Well, probably the whole time we make fun of the intro and how I do it, and we probably end up changing it because it's just getting dry and old. But most of the stuff in there is very sincere, which is why I've been so hesitant to change it. Like we be for real when we say like your input is valued and appreciated, and whatever you want to add to the show or share with somebody that you think would appreciate it. So that's real all y'all.
And it's so necessary, right? So part of, and we're gonna get into this. This is one of the topics we want to talk about, right? Yeah. I'm a big fan of Salim. You a fan of Salim? You a fan of Salim?
All honor and respect.
I was listening to Salim's show maybe a week ago, and he was talking about the fascism that is Trump. And I just had a lot of pushback on that conversation because I believe that the Democratic Party is as much fascist as the Republican Party is at this point, right? But it's a very one-sided conversation, and Salim's a uber intellect. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But then if we subtract Salim from the lexicon, or we subtract those Salim kind of voices, and again, honoring that Salim is an intellect, where's those other conversations happening at? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think this is one of those spaces where we can have them conversations that challenge like traditional ideas. Mm-hmm. And it's necessary in this moment more than any other moment than I've witnessed in my lifetime. Yeah. Right? And I know we got a small trajectory in regards to how much bandwidth we have. But that's probably why. because the conversation is necessary. You know what I mean? In the context of when this really started happening, and I'm going down the line, and I really didn't want to go down first, but I always say there was a time in my life where I could turn on Donahue, and Farrakhan would be on Donahue, right?
Daytime television.
There was a time when Noam Chomsky was on daytime television.
Yeah.
Right? You don't hear them voices anymore. There's a reason for that.
Well, probably because they're like 90 years old too.
True, but that don't mean they're the last of that breed. Because there are still voices out here. Chris Hedges is the voice. It's a white man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's a uber intellect, uber smart guy, a lot to say. You will never hear his voice on any terrestrial radio, television. It ain't there. Because they don't want you to challenge the idea. You know what I mean? But we're going to get into that, right? But I ain't going to lie, I can't help myself. We got to talk Puffy, G. We got to, bro. I know it's bullshit to a lot of people, but we got to talk.
So I think it's only surface level bullshit. I think below the surface, it's a lot of real conversations to be had in there, right? And we can laugh and joke about some of the surface level stuff. And even some of that ain't really funny. But I think if you dig a little deeper, it's a lot of real conversations to be had around the whole Puffy conversation. And you was on it so early, I dismissed completely what you said. Like, this was like 6-7 months ago, and you was like, he going to jail. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was spot on. I was like,
to be knowing shit too, God.
But
To be knowing shit.
You to be knowing shit. I agree with that. But you brought up something before the show started about COINTELPRO and how COINTELPRO kind of created a guy like Puffy. And I remember an interview Suge Knight did talking about the first time he met Puffy. And it was on that All in the Same Gang video shoot, because I guess they were both there. Puffy, he wasn't Puffy at the time.
Yeah, they was on the come up if that was.
Yeah, they was on
the
the come up because he was still a
college student probably.
No, he was a bodyguard for NWA at the time.
Suge.
Yeah,
Puff
Suge
probably was in college.
Yeah, Puff was still kind of like coming up.
Late 80s, early 90s.
And Suge said something that was very interesting that now I think about. He's like, when I met Puffy, he was just weird. Like, something was off about him. And when you said that, I was like, because, Suge is this, mogul gangster type of person.
Right.
But see, they know
Allegedly.
They know when informants are around.
Right.
And they know when people are easily, manipulated by, by the state of the government. And he just had this bad vibe about Puffy, like even back then.
Yeah.
Before either one of them got big. So I thought that was pretty interesting when you said that, and that interview came to mind. I was like, man, that's pretty interesting, because even though Suge is Suge,
right,
there is a level of instincts that he has, because he had to keep that empire as long as he can, keeping paying off cops and keeping the feds away. So
right.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
I mean, in a real way, Suge was a mascot, though. You know what I mean?
And he was.
But I get your point nonetheless. I think that Diddy was just I think he was different all the time, right? On a lot of levels. His brilliant level, I think he was different. His weird level, I think he was different. His creep level had to be different. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that just as he acquired more power, more money, it just kind of exacerbated who he always was. You know what I mean?
I'm going to push back on both of y'all, though. I don't think they was different at all. And context is so important, right? Even Garda started the conversation off with the COINTELPRO conversation.
Right.
Only reason that happened, you wasn't in here when we was having this conversation, was that over the last week, with all this new news surfacing around Puff, you had Myson, you had Mano, you had a few other smaller level cats, but Myson and Mano basically went viral for talking about the destruction of the black male image. And Mano specifically brought up COINTELPRO.
In defense of Puffy?
In defense of Puffy, and so did Myson.
Okay.
Right? And you know how motherfuckers walk the line and teeter the line, so I don't even want to say in defense of Puffy. Sure. It's more like wait until he's found guilty. Right? So what bothered me about that conversation, though, is that one, specifically, Mano was on this radio show like, y'all ain't never heard of COINTELPRO? How they destroying the image of black men, yada, yada, yada. All valid shit. It's almost like Candace Owens, right? They throw in a sprinkle of truth and then mix it in with a bunch of bullshit. And if you're ignorant, you like, that makes so much sense.
Oh, my God.
Right? But no, it don't make no motherfucking sense.
Yeah.
And you're ignorant and you unstudied, you don't know what COINTELPRO is.
Right. Not for real.
Yeah.
Not for real. right? So in reality, what I was saying, what the argument I was making to Gardis was, is that in truth, COINTELPRO birthed the likes of Puffy. COINTELPRO created a Puffy. That's the part we ain't understanding, right? So what happens is when you have
Rick Ross,
the culture.
You know what I mean? A Freeway Rick Ross I'm talking about.
All of them, but it's still the culture. Yeah. Literally Freeway Rick Ross and the rapper Rick Ross. Yeah. COINTELPRO created all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Because before COINTELPRO, what was the image of black masculinity? It was the Black Panthers. It was Malcolm X. It was Martin Luther King. And what did that image stand on? A belief system that the community is more important than me. Right? I have an intrinsic value to protect and serve my people over anything else.
And that's a much greater threat than flipping that around and empowering you
for some selfish shit.
To sell out everything else.
Sell out everything for my own personal gain.
That's interesting you say that, because we're coming on the 240 year of Jacques Dessalines' liberty or death speech.
Hey man, you better throw some Toussaint in that goddamn conversation.
But Toussaint was dead at that time. But here's the thing about that, because in his declaration,
Toussaint died 2 weeks before that, on a Wednesday.
On Friday at 3 o'clock.
In his Declaration of Independence of the nation of Haiti, he had specific points on what manhood was. Being a son, being a father, being a husband. And the most important thing that he said was about being a soldier. Was what manhood was. So I thought that was pretty interesting, considering how we define manhood, because there are many times that people, like you said, manhood is being just blown away. Matter of fact, it's being kind of nailed away,
Whoever want to be a man is a man.
Yeah, whoever want to be a man is a man. That's your choice.
Vagina carrying members of society, man.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a responsibility towards being a man. It's not just your biological makeup.
Right.
Because the conversation y'all had on Relationship Friday, it's like, manhood isn't just the biological makeup. There's a responsibility to being a man. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Oh, you got a bunch of old ass boys.
Exactly.
We've always talked about the death being on the table, right? And also the need to be threatening. Whether you succeed or not, that the necessity of being threatening is something that you got to have as a community, as a man. That part of that being a soldier thing, like you got to be. If you ain't found what you willing to die for, you ain't fit to live, right? Like. I think most people don't understand that. And I think even in the Puffy conversation, it ties into that, right? Like, you ain't found what you're willing to stand on, so you go for anything. So this man can negotiate a record deal to violate you as a man. Like,
so let's explore the nuance in even that statement, though. And that's why I bring in COINTELPRO. It's not that they ain't found out what they'll die for. They have. Capital. That's what they'll die for. Therein lies the entirety of the disconnect between the value of masculinity in the context of community. That's why COINTELPRO birthed these people, right? So all those people that's negotiating whether it's their manhood or their womanhood for capital, that's their value asset, capital, not community, right? And community is really what anchors people into power and capital as a community. You understand what I'm saying? But if we don't have that collective mentality and it's just a selfish individual mentality, then you'll compromise every moral, every level of integrity to selfishly serve that God. That's why COINTELPRO birthed the likes of Puffy, birthed the likes of Suge. And just like you started, you didn't go too far. You was like, Puff's like a mascot or Suge's like a mascot, you might have said. Let's pull back the layers on both of them people though, right? Suge was uniquely attached to Harry O. Harry O is Freeway Rick Ross. That's his story.
Right.
He's a dope boy. When you become that kind of dope boy, you don't bypass government, you work with government. You don't become Freeway Rick Ross without government's aid. It doesn't work that way.
That's the level you're on.
Yeah, that's the level you're on. Harry O was the same thing. So Suge being the man next to the man or the underling of the man, you think the government don't know who the fuck your team is? Right?
Everything about it.
Back to Puff. Who's Puff's daddy? I can't remember his first name, but whoever he is, he was Fat Cat Nichols. right-hand man. You think they don't know who your fucking family is? Right? So I know a lot.
Fat Cat put everything out in Queens.
Yeah, right? So we ain't got to go much, we could do Larry Hoover. You think the government don't know who is next in line? Are you fucking crazy? Right? They are empowering these people. You don't become these people without that empowerment. We laugh and we joke and shit about Jeff Ford saying ain't gonna be no killing without no killing. Well, if you know the story of Jeff Ford, where the fuck did he get them guns?
Right.
Via government funding.
Right.
Where the fuck did he hide those guns? In the University of Chicago Church Chapel. You know why? Because the police can't fucking come in there. You know who aided them in doing that? The pastors at the church. You know why? Because they wanted to devalue the land in Woodlawn. You know why? So that they could build the University of Chicago that we now see today, which is the goddamn government of the South Side of Chicago.
It was an investment.
It's a fucking
That they
investment.
knew, that they knew
was
was
an
coming on the back
Right?
end.
But if we know the names of Jeff Ford, how many motherfuckers you think those people know in that organization with power? Because Jeff Ford ain't coming into that child by himself either. Right? It's a continuum. Right? So there was a statement, and this quote fucked me up. It said, when values align, there's no need to have a meeting. When values align, there's no need to have a meeting. So oftentimes we had this conversation around conspiracy, and you think, man, ain't nobody really got together and talked about this shit. Well, you don't have to. If I know your value, and I know my value, and I'm in power, and I can create a paradigm that's gonna serve you, while also serving me, what the fuck I got to talk to you about? I just put it in play.
Yeah, that's how white supremacy works.
That's how it works.
That's how white supremacy works. Like they don't sit, white people don't sit back and have this meeting like, oh, we gonna kill this black man, we're gonna kill this black man, and then when the reports come out, we gonna get together, we gonna tell them how the reports. They already know.
Yeah.
When they killed Laquan McDonald, nobody had to talk to them people at the police station to alter the reports. They just automatically knew to do that.
Because it serves me. You understand? So in that vein, if the God is capital, right? If I know you're going to do whatever the fuck I say do for capital, then I just put you in the play to give whatever I need, right? If you specifically can get capital, right? Well, we all know that media, first of all, imaging and messaging dictates behavior. That's just what it is, right? So back pre-COINTELPRO, you got the Panthers, you got Malcolm, you got whoever, put them at the top of the list, right? We don't think about the 14-year-old cat coming up in that environment. He's modeling their behaviors. He's modeling their belief systems. They are the power source in his mind, right? So whether he makes it to the stature of or the visibility of a Malcolm or a King might not ever happen.
But they are the aspirational figures, though.
But they are the aspirational figures. So in the community, he's modeling that behavior. Well, who's the aspirational figures today?
The Diddy's.
And what behaviors are they modeling?
Jay-Z, Kanye.
Right? And why are they modeling those behaviors? Versus why was the 14-year-old modeling the behaviors of King, Malcolm, such and such, such and such, such and such.
That's how you get a Fred Hampton Sr.
Yeah.
I mean, he would memorize speeches from Malcolm and Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
I mean, literally memorize these
You're
speeches.
talking about 21 years old.
And you're talking about 21 years
When
old.
they murdered him, he was 21.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
But we look at Fred Hampton Sr. like that's an anomaly. Like, damn, he was only 21. It's not an anomaly. When you think about
well, that's the point I'm making to your point. Like you said, that was the aspirational goal.
Right.
He advanced further and took it, but the mindset was that was standard. You know what I mean?
this is the mindset that was being pushed. You know what I mean? So if we was to say today, think about this, right? I went to a business meeting, and it was interesting how he talked about how businesses develop and grow. He was like, one, you can take advantage of a moment in time. You can create a platform, not just a platform, but whatever product you got, you can take advantage of the moment in time, and you can become instantly wealthy because the moment in time is desiring the product, right? He said you can create an interest for that product, which is a much harder thing, but it's only 3 levels of business is how he said it, right? You can either grow during the moment in time, you can grow because you created the marketing essentially behind whatever product you're pushing to grow the product, and then he could say you can just believe that it's gonna happen. No matter what though, all of that shit is gonna plateau. And you have to have the sense of mind or the strategy to keep it going, right? No matter what, all this shit's gonna plateau. We take that same context and put it in regards to like social engineering, right? There's a plateau to the Malcolm Martin, What's the next step? what's the next phase? There's a plateau. So when we talk about the Puffies or the Shugs or everybody going to jail, when I said Puff's going to jail, I didn't even know why. But I seen the game enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I predicted this shit before Puff was in any trouble, and all y'all said I was crazy.
Because we was talking about somebody else going to jail.
Keefy D.
Yeah.
Is that what we was talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, y'all missing the shit. It ain't about Keefy D. Keefy D don't matter. He's the pawn in the game. Puff's going to jail, right? You can look down the line and Malcolm Martin, da-da-da. When the pieces close, start getting into bullshit, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to ask, why? What's the next phase of this, right? So I often argue that we're in this fourth economic revolution, right? Where AI is coming. We talk about the shit all the time.
Wait, hold on. Before we go up the scale in terms of why and what's next, right? I want to go down the scale a little bit and kind of bring it even more local, right? And down from the levels of Jay-Z and Diddy to the levels of Dirk and King Von, right? And you talk about University of Chicago earlier, right? When you were talking about Jeff Ford. I think it's very interesting, right? Just as you said that, I've been thinking about this. I think it's very interesting where you see these street beasts, specifically the ones attached to hip hop, pop off, right? Talk about Woodline. Talk about on 63rd, right? You talk about them, the Gardens, right? Parkway, like you talk about where these things are happening there, right? And you get Chief Keef, right? And all of them. Now you get the Duck and the 63rd, 64th shit. Then you talk about Inglewood, and that's where they went first. We talk about going to 63rd and Hofstra, how they built all that shit up around there, all the Starbucks and all the Whole Foods, and it's like, niggas can't afford Whole Foods. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's over there by Lamron and shit, right? You're talking about Dirk, all the Lamron niggas. And then you got South Shore, where they keep coming back further and further east. And you had Herb and his shit pop off over there. I just think it's interesting that the three biggest things is in direct areas where University of Chicago wanted to go crazy at. I know as a shorty, you don't think of it like that. You're like, oh, they got one of mine, we got one of theirs, so it just keeps going. But why? And why does that particular, Chicago is a huge city with a lot of people getting shot. Why are these three the biggest three things? Why are these three the things that everybody knows about? Niggas rap in the hundreds, niggas rap out west, niggas get shot in the hundreds, niggas get shot out west. Like those three particular ones went super, super crazy. And just as you was talking, I don't even got my thoughts fully formulated on this, but as you were talking, I was just thinking like, damn, where this shit happening at and why?
Well, to add on to that, you have this plan of moving all black folks out of the city, doing all this stuff like University of Chicago and rezoning and whatever,
right,
white people want to do to get black people out the city. Where are they pushing them to? They're pushing them further south, all the way to the south suburbs. And I wanted to talk about.
Until they become the mayor. And
yeah,
all the way to Key, all the way to Gary, right?
Yeah, well,
yeah, that too.
Well, what's so interesting is a real estate developer said white folks gonna try to take Gary back. I don't know. I don't see it yet, or understand what he's talking about.
I was just there for that casino. I just went to that casino to go see Bill Burr a couple weeks ago.
They said they're gonna try to take Gary back, but many of them are being pushed to the Southland.
Right.
When you talk about Dalton, Harvey, Markham, and even where I live at in South Holland.
Right.
And it's so funny,
I mean, them areas been black, but you talking about people. You talking about a mixing of the city and people that's been there.
That's true, but then you starting to get more people from the city coming into those areas because of the fact that those areas are affordable because they've been downgraded, over the last couple of decades, and now you have situations out there where, and I know Tu said he kind of like tuned it out, but the Tiffany Haynier situation down there is just so fascinating.
She's the mayor of Dalton.
She is the mayor of Dalton. And what's so interesting is she was actually a trustee for 7 years. Never acted like that. However, under the previous mayor, who was Riley Rogers, he was basically acting the same way she was as far as you was talking about fascism.
Yeah. Take
a look at Dalton politics, even now and before then. there was basically, he was trying to run it like a dictatorship over there.
He was wild. You referenced I used to host this show called the Southland Report on BON, and I would have conversations with all the different mayors. They would come on the show and we just talk about what's going on. Mm-hmm. Everybody came. That man never came to that show.
Yeah.
Not one, nah. Not coming to sit down and have that conversation with you.
Exactly.
Like you
ain't gonna expose me.
You're not doing that, right?
Exactly.
I talk to everybody.
I'm still in quiet.
He like, no, I heard the show. I listened to it. I'm not coming to have that conversation with you. I'm like,
exactly.
All right.
And so here's the thing about Dalton Village meetings. Here's the thing about Dalton Village meetings. They've been live streaming their village meetings since 2015. So you can go back and see all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what, how things were being run back then, you see like Tiffany was kind of like, throwing stuff back at Riley Rogers because Riley Rogers wanted to take care of this. He wanted to take control of that. He wanted money, he wanted to take control of the money. And she was just basically kind of like her and two other trustees was kind of like, fighting him against taking control of it. And then when she gets in,
she do the same shit.
She does the same thing. And it's just fascinating how her personality went from this to this.
And what happened right at the change of that power? Dalton became a hotbed for random gun violence, right? And it became this big news story. Like, it's popping in Dalton. They killing people in Dalton. These people got shot in Dalton. These people got shot in Dalton. This guy, it's like, this script sound real familiar.
But see, here's the thing, though. I don't see it in the mainstream media a lot.
No, but like a few years ago, it was like this huge thing. Like Dalton is jumping off. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When they had that war on Sibley, that's when you saw it. But other than that, Dalton's been hot for like a while.
Sure.
It's been hot for a while. But they're only getting coverage because of her now, and it's not even local coverage. It's national coverage. Because a group of YouTubers last year started noticing what was happening because, like I said, the Dalton Village meetings were live streamed. Mm-hmm. And so when they start seeing like these behaviors that's been going on in village meetings that you ain't never seen in village meetings, all of us have been in village meetings and we know how it goes. But when you start seeing like name calling and backbiting, it's just totally different. And the meetings was going on for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
I've never been in a meeting, before where like the governmental body had to meet for 4 hours because you're just arguing back and forth. Mm-hmm. And it was ridiculous. So these YouTubers who were mostly from the West Coast started putting light to this. Mm. And it was interesting how they portrayed Tiffany as this dictator because, I mean, she was breaking all kind of laws. Like, one of her first things that came about that caused the controversy is she wanted to have a meeting in her first year as a mayor. The trustees wanted to have a meeting when she first became mayor. She didn't want to do it. So guess what she did? She locked the trustees out. Changed the locks on the village hall. Now these are elected officials. You should be able to have access to the village hall. She was like, oh, hell no. I'm locking the door. Y'all not going to have a meeting until I say have a meeting. But according to the ordinance, if 4 more trustees want to have a meeting, you got to do that. Mm-hmm. She like, no, I ain't got to do that. I ain't got to do nothing y'all say. I ain't got to do nothing y'all say. But the portrayal of her is so interesting because when you look at the national scene, there's a lot of blacks. One of the podcasters who picked up on this, Pink Book Lessons, I think that's her name. She calls them the city girl mayors. Mm-hmm. And she said she found a whole bunch of city girl mayors.
City girl mayors.
I think it's so important though.
It is.
Remind me, because I'm gonna bring this back in.
It's important because old girl in New Orleans, I was just telling you about, LaToya Cantrell.
Right.
She was doing the same thing, spending the New Orleans credit card, lavish stuff, and she had to pay all that money back. I think they said she had to pay like $30,000 back or something like that.
And that's what they call
way more than.
Yeah.
That's a drop in the bucket when you talk about a city budget the size of New Orleans.
Well, that's true. But at the same time, when they started looking at like these the financial reports. Yeah. And like, okay, why you got to go, to this place? Why you got to go to that place? It wasn't about city business. Yeah. It was just her personal, personal fulfillment.
And that's just what she dared to put on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Not too far from there, there's another mayor who basically was arguing with, her trustees and board members, and that stuff is on film too. Then there was something with the Orlando commissioner, another black woman, who got into this love triangle and started doing stuff illegally. So it's like there's a pattern going on here right now. And many people focus on what Lori Lightfoot was doing. She ain't got nothing on what's going on with Tiffany Haynes. Like that is like something totally different. And one more thing about this, because I start noticing, because I like I said, a lot of the podcasters outside of this area picked up on this story. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of white podcasters coming in and so there was a guy named Long Island Audit. I can't think of his name. He came to Thornton Township trying to ask for some, what do they call it, the FOIA request. Because that's another reason why she's being investigated by the state's attorney. She's turning down FOIA requests or not fulfilling them. And that's illegal. You can't. You gotta open them up. If I ask you for some information, you gotta give me that information. Mm-hmm. But she just flat out refused.
No.
But he was very brazen about it, because it was like, well, I'm in a public, because you see it on this podcast, like, well, I'm in a public building, because they were telling him, are you, what business are you here for? Oh, I'm just filming. And the security guard told him he got to leave.
I've seen that.
And so they called the South Holland police because it's in South Holland, and they just basically was like, can you please, do your business and leave? And the first thing I thought about was, I know if this guy was black, they would have hauled him out of there like immediately.
Yeah.
Even though, he was saying like, well, I got a right to be here. But see, that was the thing that I was looking at when I was like, we can't do that.
We need our white eyelash though, man.
We can't do that,
Like you just do. So, you need your white eyelash sometimes.
But I thought that was very fascinating.
Just because of their privilege.
I thought that was very fascinating how and a lot of the podcasters who are sharing all of this information that what's going on with Dalton are praising these guys about exposing this. When I started first looking at it, I started seeing like some of the other black podcasters who was picking up on this, and they were interviewing like former trustees. There was one woman who actually used to work for Tiffany that was being interviewed. Mm-hmm. Somebody else who was in the Thornton Township, the Thornton Township. She worked in Thornton Township for a long time, and she knew who Tiffany was. Actually, I worked for Thornton Township for a minute, and I saw what was going on. So I thought that these black podcasters who picked up on the story are now praising these white podcasters for quote unquote exposing it. Now you got Jebediah Brown involved in this now, because he out in Dalton right now because they got a board meeting tonight, and apparently she locked Tiffany basically locked the doors of the village hall. You couldn't go in there. You had to get somebody to come to the door and do your business, and it was like crazy. She also had an event on Saturday, an Easter egg hunt event, where she sicked the cops on one of her loudest critics. Basically threw her out of the event. Her son, and her grandson. Grandson was crying because there was a whole bunch of cops around him, and basically I'm pretty sure it's going to be talked about tonight at the village meeting.
So let me throw this to you, Drew. Garza just laid out a lot of the information that's happening with these places, whether they, large cities, smaller towns, local or national.
I don't give a fuck. but hear what I'm saying, right? I know that comes off.
No, because I don't even disagree.
I don't give a fuck. What's important to me about all this shit is the mentality behind it. Even if that's why I want to come back to the city girl mayors, like the moniker they've been given, right? We just talked about COINTELPRO being the birthing of a Puffy, of a Suge Knight, of that culture. City girls mayors ain't no fucking different. They were birthed in the culture, right? Where transactionalism and capitalism is the definitive of value, right? So how does Puffy or Suge do it? By creating a paradigm where they're promoting criminality, creating a paradigm where they're promoting horror behavior, creating where they're just morally defunct. What the fuck we expect different from a Tiffany or New Orleans? This is what it is, because this is what we value, right? And it don't change in your household, right? Don't change with your relationship with your woman. It dictates all of the behaviors going forward. And then we start to justify shit with my Mano and my son coming out saying, y'all don't remember COINTELPRO? They're tearing down black men and their success. But what has his success done but tear down our communities? Fuck them people. They gotta die. The mentality has to die, right? So I agree. That's why I said I tune her ignorant ass out. I've also tuned Puffy's ignorant ass out. And as I get older, I tune most of these motherfuckers out. Herb is a huge fan of Jay-Z. Lyrically, Jay-Z is probably top 2 to me, too. Mm-hmm. But Herb also tell you, every time he mentions that motherfucker, I be like, fuck dude. No, I'm serious, bro. Because it's cancerous, right? I got a 18-year-old son. I got a 15-year-old daughter. I have conversations with them. I'm their daddy, but they don't think like they daddy. Because I'm fighting the fucking machine that's telling them, your daddy that ain't shit. Mm-hmm. This was valuable over here. Look at all this gold over here.
That's where it's at.
This is where it's at, right? And you're gonna struggle to combat that machine, bro, because that machine don't turn the fuck off.
24/7.
And see, this is why I find that situation fascinating in Dalton, because in 2022 there was a recall, and basically they had it on the ballot. Basically, the Dalton residents, 56% of them wanted her recalled. She took it to the appellate court and she won. Now I'm starting to think like,
real quick, when values align, there's no need to have a fucking meeting.
And that's true. And also,
we got who we want then.
We got who we want.
Exactly.
What Jay-Z said is we're done with that kneeling shit.
It's cool.
But who is her godmother too?
I don't know. Who is she?
Dorothy Brown.
Oh.
Dorothy Brown is a godmother. So I kind of question what's going on with the Cook County Democrats. Are they protecting that woman? Are they protecting that woman?
So I guess the short answer or the easy answer would be yeah, but also just to the point Two just made about his own kids. They live in his house. And they like, I'm on this shit. Fuck what you talking about. You know what I mean? So that I can't say definitively that Dorothy Brown is on that with her. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that draw, that machine is so loud, man. It is. It's so loud, and it's hard. That allure is real. One of my favorite Jay-Z songs is a song called Allure, and it's like it's just the allure of breaking the law was always too much for me to ever ignore. Like that's the key line in that song, and I think that people subscribe to that on any level. That's why I was like, let's come back down. Let's come back down from up here and let's bring this here so everybody can understand this is not different from what the fuck you experience in your community, in your town, in your house. Like this is not different, right? And so we can look at it and say, oh, that's some Donald Trump shit. That's some Diddy shit. That's some Harvey Weinstein shit. That's some American shit.
This is America right now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but most people would call it the quote unquote Trump effect.
But look though, you talk about Diddy. And talk about the early signs of who he was. Remember he had that fucking show, that Making the Band show?
Yeah.
Remember he made them little niggas walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That gave me some insight as to who you are already, right? And I was having a conversation with my brother yesterday. And my brother was like, oh, it was kind of just, testing, see how committed they was. And I'm like, yeah, but why do you need to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you need to do that? He's like, man, my brother played ball. So he's like, man, you come in, you a rookie. And he like, niggas be like, you carry the bags. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's some rookie hazing shit. But when that hazing is over, y'all are equals. He is their boss, is going to remain their superior even after this bullshit is over. So why are you doing that, right? But furthermore, why the fuck are y'all doing it? Like, I'm not walking to Brooklyn to get you no cheesecake. I'm not doing it, period. But it's 10 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, not doing that, bro. I don't want to be on your label that damn bad. But the negotiations start wherever it starts. So if we talking about walking to Brooklyn to cheesecake, if we talking about, giving up your dignity and sacrificing your body, like, all that is the same. I'm not doing that with you. But cats are doing that, and I think, like, your price is your price.
That's true. And a lot of the stuff that she, like, say, going back to Tiffany, say, when she got assigned as the Thornton Township supervisor, which has a $50 million budget, considering Dalton is in a $7 million deficit, she got more money to play with now. Because now she's the supervisor, and she didn't get elected to that position. She got appointed because the previous supervisor, Frank Zuccarelli, had died. Now, many of us know Southland politics.
Frank ran shit.
Frank was the most powerfulest politician in the Southland.
No doubt.
But the thing is, she comes in thinking that she gonna have that same power. No, it don't work like that.
Hell no.
She always makes this expression, and she did this at the last meeting. I'm over 18 mayors in the township. You think the mayors talk to you?
Let me ask a question. Why do you think she thought she was gonna have that Frank Zuccarelli power?
Because of the seat that she's in.
And how do you achieve that Frank Zuccarelli power?
You don't achieve that. Well, let's talk about Frank. Frank has been in that position for 30 years.
So wait.
30 years.
Let's not jump the gun though.
Okay.
Because Michael Madigan had that same power. How do you get that Michael Madigan power? I'm asking these questions on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta make backroom deals that may not look good in the public eye.
Yeah.
And also
you cheat.
Of course.
That's it. We ain't got to go through no long drawn out shit. You cheat. There's a reason why Michael Madigan is 9,000 years old and never had a cell phone. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
Right? And because of my criminal activities, I got all the goddamn money and I got all the goddamn power. Right? And I'm not going to leave my seat until a motherfucker threatens me criminally. And then I'm only going to leave to duck the jail shit at 900 years old. Right? Same with every other position. Right? That's why Herb said the shit he just said, like, you know, what is your price? I'll sell this shit for as long as I can sell this shit until I'm caught. And then I'm gonna move forward. But it's devoid of morality. Right? The goddamn the definition of a politician as a servant of people. That is the core goddamn qualifier for being a politician. To serve the people. You work for the people, but not if you're selfish, right? Not if I'm not, I cannot be a Michael Madigan and be a politician that's there for the definitive of serving the people.
I gotta keep the machine rolling.
Yeah, you gotta keep the machine rolling, but there is also, there's a difference between morality and working with a code, because she is not doing neither one of them. Now, at least in Zuccarelli, he may have been doing something criminal, but at least he had a code. Because the thing is that
like Omar,
after 30 years, you don't get caught. Because there's a certain way you do this. You don't put yourself on social media. You don't make videos talking about, hey, I'm Frank Zuccarelli, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. No. Before I started working at Thornton Township, I didn't even know what Zuccarelli looked like until I started working there. Yeah. So the thing is that he wasn't open like she is. She's just blatant. Because she wants to get caught.
Context is everything, though, right? So Michael Madigan got into the Young Democrats at 16 years old. He left office at, I laugh when I say 96,000, but what was he, 80, what?
Some when they walked
from 16 to 80, right? Daily 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine what he learned up under those predecessors. Right? He had a mentorship that allowed him to move through in a way that, no, you ain't gonna get caught, because we know the game.
He know where all the bones buried.
Not only did we know the game, we created the fucking game. Right? It was us. And we've been following the lineage of 400-something years of the game.
Exactly.
Right? We ain't been invited to the game since, 1970-something.
She don't know how to play.
No, she don't. Right? That's what I'm saying.
She don't even know how to play. Again, though, but why they would call her the city girl mayor? Because what does black power look like? I made a joke that Jay-Z and Diddy was what we look at as black leadership. And he was like, no. I asked your daughter. And she said, no, you got that shit wrong. Kanye and Jay-Z is our leaders. Right? So if that's the version of leadership that we understand and we mimic the behavior, just like I said, pre-COINTELPRO, Martin, Malcolm, we can go down the line. They became the version of power that we aspired to. Now we aspire to fucking entertainers. And what do entertainers do? They perform. Right? But we don't have any real wealth in our community at all. And wealth is the definitive of value in this paradigm. So if I'm Tiffany and I got a budget of XYZ,
right,
and the only motherfuckers I got to even mimic is entertainers. I'm finna show. It's finna be a show.
Well, she acts like an entertainer.
That's my whole point.
She acts like an entertainer. That's the problem.
That's why
it's reality TV.
That's why it's on YouTube. That's why she's doing the social media. It's reality TV. Like, she thinks she's Housewives of Atlanta or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that type of thing. So they doing that But it permeates throughout the entirety of our society, though, right? Shorties want a Lambo to go to prom.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what? He want to?
A motherfucker that can't drive.
Dead ass.
Don't even get a license.
You don't even understand the power that thing. When you tap that and that motherfucker is 2 blocks away, you're gonna be like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the mentality.
True story, guys. True story. My nephew went to prom last year. Right. His daddy got him the big Tesla. I don't know what that's called. The girl's parents was like, that ain't it.
Wait a minute. The girl's parents.
That ain't it.
The parents.
The car not license.
That ain't it. So this all happened in the matter of, you come see the family, take some pictures, and then they drive off. While they're taking pictures, a Porsche Panamera and a Range Rover pulled up. Because my daughter ain't going to no Tesla. I also saw a multitude of what they call the big body Rolls Royce Phantoms.
Yeah.
They were renting those to high school kids. They don't get a driver in the heck, they come with a driver. These were the rules. I saw this shit because I know somebody who had one. You got 15 minutes to take pictures. We're going to drop you off. We're picking you up at this time. If you're not there, we're leaving you. $2,000. They legitimately spent maybe 30 minutes in the car because you got 15 minutes to take pictures. I'm going to drop your ass off, and I'm leaving. I'll pick your ass up. They probably did this. If you got one car, you could probably get 10 kids in a night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's 20 bands in one night.
That's all.
But it's the mentality behind it. Even as an 18-year-old, I got to show up in a goddamn Phantom.
But as an 18-year-old, right, is one thing. But to the point you're making about how
The parent,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the 36-year-old, it's the 40-year-old, it's the 50-year-old too, and it's like, yeah, they city girl mayors.
but here's the back
They
end
just
of that.
mayors, but they all city girls.
But here's the back end of that shit that's so important to me, which is, and I think you have a wealth of information that I don't have on this conversation, right? I think that the reason why we can talk about Trump in context of fascism, not the reason why, but the reason why this conversation is permeating in the culture of America is because the dollar's dropping rapidly,
Yeah.
right? And it's been dropping. So Trump ain't the only fascist. The Democratic Party is a fascist too, and we don't understand or we don't qualify what fascism really is, right? So when we see the Trump or the January 6th attack on the White House, it's easy to create a marketing campaign that says, ooh, run away from this shit, right? But when you pull back the layers and start to understand what fascism is, it's the result of a failing economy. That's what it usually is, right? When Mussolini said, let's create this kind of idea, it was the result of, we ain't got no bread. So how do we grasp power, right? We grasp power, it's like Herb says, reality TV, either through violence or through manipulation. And you become a follower of a demigod instead of what's really happening in your motherfucking life.
And you bring up a good point, because in Argentina, they just elected this guy named Javier Milei. And if you look him up, same thing, reality star, became president, and the first thing he want to do, cut this, and this, and you got to follow what I say. And it's like, many people call him, they don't call him the Trump of South America. They say he's worse than Trump. As far as fascism, he is worse than Trump. And the only reason why he got that position is because Argentina is bankrupt. So what does he do? He goes on TV. He was like, I promise you, I get this thing going.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. I promise you, I get this thing going. Look at me, I'm a YouTube success.
Now all
I can do this, I can do that.
Lambos
And the first thing he does,
That's all it
cut.
But think about even the birthing of Donald Trump as a politician, right? If we just rewind the tape a little bit, right? What predated him becoming a politician? It became the, what's the name of the show he had?
Apprentice.
The Apprentice, right? Because pre-Apprentice, Trump was he was gone, right?
He wasn't even, nobody took him serious, because remember, he ran for president before 2016.
He wasn't in the American lexicon before Apprentice. Apprentice birthed a new version of Trump, right? But if you study even that, when they came to film the show, the goddamn Trump Tower was so dilapidated because it was just poor. He had no money, right? NBC had to come in and revitalize Trump Towers just so they could film in the motherfucker, because they was embarrassed.
Yeah.
This is trash, right? But then you hear those motherfuckers who believe in Trump as a demigod say, well, he's a businessman. No, the fuck he isn't. He's an entertainer.
Yeah, he is.
Right? But we say the same stupid shit about Jay-Z. He's not a businessman either. He's a brand that business people leverage to push their business. That don't make you a motherfucking businessman. You understand? Because blue is on the crest bottle don't make blue important. It's just blue. You understand? The blue don't sell the crest. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Right? So you can attach his brand to the NFL. He don't make no motherfucking decisions in the NFL. But we think he do.
Yeah,
he don't.
Yeah.
He don't. But he has enough power to say in an NFL fucking meeting, because it don't dictate what happened in the NFL, it dictates what niggas do. We through with kneeling. It's the game. So to the demigod of Trump, and this is what I mean about both parties being the same fascist philosophies, right? It's they're saying, what did Biden say to Charlemagne? If you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. But what he's leveraging is, here's the demon over here. Either violence or manipulation. So most motherfuckers who voted for Trump, or I mean not voted for Trump, but who voted for Biden post-Obama, they wasn't voting for Biden. They were just voting against the demigod. Which essentially makes you another motherfucking demigod, because you don't have no value to me, other than you ain't him.
And it's the other way too. Many people vote for Trump because they don't want Biden.
Because you ain't him.
Yeah.
Right? And we can push back the layers. It ain't neither of those people. It ain't Trump. It ain't Biden. We can go back down to Reagan. This shit been going on.
Nixon.
Been
farther
going.
back there.
We can keep going, right?
Yeah, we keep
but
going.
We're at the precipice of a new economy. Right? I got sick the other day on some just a cold type of shit. It fucked me up. Because I went to buy some soup. You know what the fuck soup cost today, man?
You said like $4.
$4
For a can of soup?
for a can of soup, bro.
Damn.
The goddamn small.
Yeah.
This ain't this can of soup. This the little medicines. What they call them shit? The put you to sleep shit.
Oh.
You know, whatever it is, the shit with the lean in it. You know the shit you got to get over the counter now.
Yeah. Cold food.
Whatever
food
that shit is.
medicine,
Look, that shit costs $19. You can't afford to get. I've been here a long time, G. I remember you get 4 cans of soup for $1.
Oh yeah, easy, for sure.
Right?
A can of soup?
The game's changing. Right? And we aren't invited to the table.
But the irony of that is, while that is happening, while simultaneously a 79-cent can of Campbell soup is $4, you also have the mindset of, I'm driving a Lamborghini to prom. These two things don't go together, G.
When you don't have nothing.
You can't not afford a can of soup.
But they all go together when you're not dealing with your reality. You're focusing on the aspirations of the demigods, whether it be Puff, whether it be Biden, whether it be Trump. We create these realities as if they're our realities, right? That's why reality TV works so well.
And why is that? Because another thing that we got to insert into the conversation is, what does black liberation look like? Most people think it's capital.
Right.
Which I don't think so.
Right.
Because we can't play that game and people have a lack of understanding of what the global economy is looking like. Like you said, the dollar is losing its value around the world. And that's only because of the rise of China. China is now, many people argue, the biggest economy or maybe even bigger than the United States.
Yeah.
So now they got to deal with that.
Especially with this AI shit.
But yeah, and the AI stuff, because, it's so funny, y'all have the conversation about AI and what's going to do to the job. China ain't even having that conversation. They're not having that conversation because they manufacture
everything.
Yeah, we don't make
so
nothing.
they will never lose jobs.
Yes.
Why do they manufacture everything though?
Because we gave it to them.
Right. You understand? Like
to 'em.
it's cyclical though.
And so here's the historical thing about that. So for when China became communist, we stopped messing with them. Up around until Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger wanted to make a deal with China. So they opened up trade with China. It's like, okay, we're going to give you these things. Because at that time, Nixon wanted this last-ditch effort to win the Vietnam War. So if we can get China on our side, we could probably win this war. Didn't work.
Right.
But then he still wanted to open up these trade routes with China. So he assumed that this was going to be a lopsided, agreement, which it was in the beginning, because, they would throwing manufacturers out, paying them like 1 cent an hour, whatever. But then what they realized was that China, the Chinese people, took this capital that they had, and instead of trying to, spend lavishly on it or whatever, they built their nation with it. And it took them decades to do it, but they invested in education, they invested in the people, they got 80 million people out of poverty.
Because money ain't the goal.
Because money ain't the goal. Nationhood is the goal. And now they're a threat.
Yep.
They're a threat. And even though economically they might be up there, but militarily the United States still has the upper advantage. But at the same time, you ain't about to invade China.
It's gonna be a fight though.
It's gonna be a fight. It is going to be a fight. And that's why Taiwan is so important, because the thing is that Taiwan manufactures most of the chips, microchips that goes around the world. The technology is a very important factor in this as well, because microprocessors, even though you can design them,
I mean, they damn near shut down the car industry just by holding up the chips.
Exactly. Because Taiwan is the only place that can manufacture those chips at a
mass rate.
Mass rate. And now, when they put the sanctions on China, they can't get chips from Taiwan. What did China do? They started manufacturing their own chips.
Why though? Right? See, we never deal with the why. And the only why is greed, bro. Right? We gave them industry because we don't want to pay what it costs to pay a fucking American. That's it. So if my greedy ass, whoever it might be, titans of industry run America. That's just it. Titans of industry own, control America. What did I just say earlier in the show? I said, man, I was harassing Rahm Emanuel, government. What did Rahm Emanuel do? He pushed me to business. Why did he push me to business?
I can open up some doors for you if you shut the fuck up.
Your ass poor. Go get some of this money I can give you. And in most instances, most motherfuckers be like, okay.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. And shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right?
Bought and paid for.
Bought and paid for across the board, right? Bought and paid for. That's the game.
Speaking of bought and paid for, we got super chat coming in from the Culture Seller. Say, peace, brothers, great show. Shout out to the Culture Seller, man.
Salute,
we appreciate
man.
the 199 super chat. Thank you.
But
thank you
again,
so much.
it's the mentality behind that. If we can't change the mentality behind that of the people, right? This is a cyclical thing.
What does it take for people to stop doing that?
So I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I did know. What I will say is this, right? When 5 years ago, when we had Laquan McDonald, when we had all of the deaths around the country, black deaths around the country at the hands of police, there was this uprising of people, right? George Floyd sparked a movement, right? What I always say on the show is that revolution isn't always successful, but it's always necessary. Because if you don't check the balances of power. And power does not concede anything without demand. It just doesn't. I'm a catfish in a fucking pond is gonna eat himself to death. It just is what the fuck it is, right? If you're sitting there and I'm the big fish, I'm gonna keep fucking eating you motherfuckers. I don't even be hungry. But eventually I'm gonna eat till there ain't nothing left. And then I kill myself. It's just the culture of the greed philosophy.
At some point, it becomes imperative for them little fish to say, hey,
motherfucker.
Come on, we got to split
We
up.
got to kill this motherfucker.
Because one-on-one, he going to come kill us all at a time anyway. So, yeah, we run up over there. Is all of us coming back? Probably not. But it's guaranteed we all gone if we don't.
Culturally, this is why blackness is so important. Culturally, right? And black Americans specifically. We ain't never been invited to the show. We ain't never been invited to the party. So the vast majority of our existence on this soil has been combative to that system. All we really had was morality, because we wasn't invited to the Capitol party. We ain't never had no fucking money, right? We got one generation of motherfuckers who made money, the baby boomers. That's it. And if you do the history of black folks since 1619 to the baby boomer generation, their whole push in this culture, in this country was, fuck you, we standing on our morals. We'll die for our morality. And it inspired movements across the goddamn planet. right? It ain't a social movement that is existent since the civil rights movement that ain't employed King and Malcolm strategies. It ain't one. You can't find them, right? It ain't one. But you, back to COINTELPRO, you convinced the people that this ain't the value asset. Now we've invited ourselves mentally, if not nothing else, into an idea that has never been afforded to us. And it still ain't. We 2% of the fucking private sector business. We ain't getting no money.
And I don't
Niggas only talk about money and ain't got none. I'd be so confused.
Yeah, and this is not a shout out on black businesses because there's always this promotional we need more black businesses and I have nothing against black buy black and I promote that. But if you think that's going to give us liberation,
no,
you're fooling yourself.
But what makes us think that?
Capital.
No. What makes us think that? It's not capital. It's media. It's the Cosby Show.
Oh, the ways of okay,
it's
how they
puffy.
Yeah.
It's Instagram. Don't nobody put on Instagram their real life. They put those moments where I look bigger than my real life.
Highlights.
The highlights, right? Even today, we talked about this for a quick second before we got here. They're doing a revamping of Good Times, right? We just having a text conversation, and it wasn't even about let's talk about this on the show. It's just something E sent us. Right? And I hear and it ain't just Good Times, it's all the shit. It's black people saying, man, I'm sick of these slave stories. I'm sick of these downtrodden concept philosophy stories around black people. Show us in our proper light. What you think your proper light is? In a country where you got shared 2% of the wealth with 98% of the population, what you think your proper light is when dual income earning black families don't bust $50,000 at a level of 50%? What you think you think you different than Good Times, motherfucker? They had more money than you then.
I don't want to hear no more slave stories. Well, there's more of us in prison than was ever enslaved.
They had more money than you then. But rationally, we can't conceive that concept. We can't conceive that.
No, because we too busy putting on for the show. And so I start to believe the show. I start to believe, I don't have nothing in my pocket, but I do got on the right shoes.
There was a...
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's true.
You start to believe that bullshit.
And what's so funny?
The Evans didn't give a fuck about the right shoes.
You know what's so funny is, my 8th grade teacher, she was like 90-some years old. She just recently died. And I remember her talking about those shows back in 7th grade. Mm-hmm. And she literally said this, how coonish they were. I mean, I enjoyed like what's happening and Good Times and all that stuff, but she was like, and she made that argument too. Now, don't get me wrong, the situations are the realities, but look how they are behaving. She talked about the behavior sets of each character. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, the father in Good Times had to leave because of the way JJ was. She was like, how many people act like that in your family?
Act like JJ?
Mm-hmm.
But check this out, though. We push back on JJ, right? but let's pull it all back in, though, right? And I get it. James, they killed James because he wouldn't do certain shit.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
Right? But Florida said, you ain't going to have me on this show as a single mama. So they also made James, right? They showed a family intact with a black father. Regardless of their economic situation, James stood up as a man
strong,
in the show.
masculine black father.
Right? Where's the pushback on all these reality shows? Where we see women throwing shit across the tables and fighting each other and hitting each other in the face. Where's the pushback on the reality shows where we see homosexual men wearing tights and high heels and purses? Where's the pushback on that shit?
They want that to be the real life.
Yeah.
Again, why don't they push back on that? Because most of the motherfuckers live in big houses. Or the presentation is, we're living this high life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what I push back on, and I'm not saying Good Times was the right example, but neither was the motherfucking Cosby Show.
I agree with that too.
You understand
I definitely agree with that too.
That goddamn Cosby Show house would cost like $5 million a day.
And most of our parents, our father wasn't a doctor and our moms weren't attorneys.
That's not our reality.
That's not our reality.
But it creates an aspirational world, right?
I mean, have a whole separate wing for his office.
So what happens though, check game though. Uh-huh. You get Kamala Harris being the vice president, inviting young black college students who were informed through that aspirational construct to come to the White House, and they playing Sexy Motherfucking Red.
Yeah.
Because you ain't thought about the politics of this moment. You ain't thought about the community in this moment. It's all aspirational. It's all performative.
So after you said that, the first thing I said was like, now I know why Tiffany Hayner acts the way she acts.
Because it's all performative. Everybody acts like her.
If he was just saying they was playing Sexy Red at the White House, I can't even fault her for acting the way she acts.
So it's at every level.
But you can't fault her. I'm faulting her ass.
Not excusing the behavior,
But
I'm just saying
it's right.
it's everywhere.
Oh my
It's
God.
everywhere.
Top to bottom,
It's adapted.
it's left and right.
We've all adapted, right? I've said this before on the show, man. But this is me. I had to, I do a lot. I'm an entrepreneur, so I do a lot of business with people I eventually become friends with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And because our relationship is kind of predicated on business, we often have these conversations. And I be like, man, we got to do this. It's all these things we got to do, right? And I thought about it, man. And a lot of them people, and this speaks to my own sickness. A lot of people be like, man, how are Eric and Bella my kids? And I be thinking like, damn, I don't even know your kids' names. That's a problem, family. Mm-hmm. That speaks to how deep-rooted the sickness is. You know what I mean? Yep. And I'm a dude that feels like I'm trying to walk the correct path. But that's how, and I'm constantly saying, this is me. Like I had to be like, why the fuck I don't know your children's name? Mm-hmm. Because that should be what's most important.
Right.
Relationships.
Not just the business of it.
The relationships.
Not just the business of this shit. Which is why when you go to the NFL meeting, they doing business at the bar, because it's about community. Mm-hmm. And we gonna do whatever it is to keep everybody who ain't part of this shit the fuck out.
Exactly. And even if a black person comes in with $1 billion talking about I want to buy an NFL team, no. Mm-hmm. No, I don't care how much money you got.
And that's their playground. That's where they play with their money. That ain't where they make their money.
No, not for the most part.
That's where they play with it and you ain't invited. You can't even play with us.
Because heck, they didn't even let Rush Limbaugh buy a team.
Nah.
And he was KKK racist.
I told you he was down there making all the NFL decisions last week. Jay-Z wasn't there.
Well, Jay-Z ain't got that type. He ain't got the money like that.
I'm just saying, as an NFL decision maker. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But think about how we think about him. We think about him as an NFL decision maker. The goddamn argument people made when he said we threw a deal in, they was like, well, let's trust Jay. Jay's going to make some things happen. Where? So it's no different between, and it goes back to the conversation. Like I said, Salim's intellect, and I love Salim. Mm-hmm. But this entire system is on this fascist bullshit kick. And we've all become intoxicated with the idea of transactionalism, which is birthed through the nature of the social design of capitalism. And you don't have any value if you don't have anything to negotiate.
And that's why people start to negotiate
everything.
With their butt, with their box, with their whatever. Because now that's the only place you got to negotiate.
The only chip you got.
And I find myself not having a whole lot of empathy for them people. So we was reading through the Diddy case last week. Shout out again to Sharif for sending us all them documents. But
I gotta forward me that.
We was going through that, and this is a grown ass man. He was a grown ass man when you met Diddy.
Lil Rob, the one who filed the case.
You talking about
Chicago boy too.
He
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Diddy did this to me in LA. Did this to me in Miami. Diddy did this to me in New York. He did this to me in nigga. How many places you gonna go with this man when he keep doing this shit to you? How many times we gotta touch your butt? You be like, I'm not getting on no more planes with you.
I'm gonna pull one more.
Like,
you said
fuck?
the city girl of mayors. Part of this new conversation is the real city girl, the whatever her name is, because I don't know the city girl's name.
The city girls.
Mm-hmm. The real ones though, the one who's used the moniker. Mm-hmm. She's under, I don't want to say under investigation, but she's being touted as a whore. She's being pushed into this sex trafficking case because he paid her a monthly stipend. Right? Now, check this shit out.
Sound like your job to me.
Check this shit out. But her whole brand is I'm a whore. That's what her music is.
City girls up.
Ain't that what her music is?
Yeah.
Fuck him and get some money.
Wow.
Janet Jackson had a contract with that billionaire nigga. Did you know that?
Yes. When I have a baby, I can get XYZ. And when she had the baby, she got XYZ.
We get married. As long as we're married for
Dodge.
5 years, I get $100 million. If I give you a baby, I get another $100 million.
Yeah.
She went 5 years, baby, divorce, $200 million.
perspective though, right?
City girl.
This Janet Jackson this whatever the dude she had the baby with. Our community look at her, she's like the upper echelon of economics. Why you got to sell your body to get another, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You broke.
We're not really in that game.
And if you ain't broke financially, you surely are broke spiritually.
And he was like a Saudi billionaire or something
Yeah,
like that?
he's a Saudi billionaire, and she, what the fuck is $100 million to him?
Nothing.
I throw that away. I forgot that was in the closet. Go get that little bag out the closet.
And you're talking about
and tell her to come top me out.
An industry that fuels like 90% of the world.
This is Janet Jackson though.
Right.
But this ain't even Sexy Red. This is Janet Jackson.
This ain't Keisha from the block, G.
That's true.
Janet Jackson.
That's true.
And this a nigga sitting in his limitless mansion like, get that little duffel bag out the closet right there. Tell her to come suck me out.
Just like the motherfuckers who bring down,
Jackson,
just like the motherfuckers who bring down your favorite Instagram model to Dubai to shit on them and fuck their sons.
Oh wow.
It's across the board. It's everybody everywhere. Until you decide I'm not with that.
When you see them Instagram models in Dubai, they're getting slutted out by 10-year-olds.
So when you talk about
Wow.
how to change it, what to stop, I don't know, because it's a mental thing. It's reversing your values. Boosie on live. Put your pussy on live, I'll give you $1,000. Boosie throw a pool party every year and let his 14-year-old sons knock off these grown women, and they come to his house to do it.
So there's got to be a point where somebody's just got to say no.
It's coming.
It's just got to say no.
It's coming.
You articulated the experience about all of the major networks trying to get you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could have brought home a bag.
Sure, I could have. No doubt.
We could probably seen you on ESPN or Fox or whatever.
No doubt about it.
And you were like, no, I want to stay with this independent.
Right.
And me, like, one of my things is that when I was at the township, I decided to leave there because I didn't like the way Frank was running things.
Mm-hmm.
When he found out that I was leaving, this dude asked me, was like, he took me to lunch over at the Blueberry Pancake House over in South Holland. And he was like, listen, I don't want you to go because I like your work. And he was like, how much is the other job offering you? And I told him how much it was. He was like, I'll give you 10% more. I was like, no, I don't want it. Because the way he deals with his employees and people like him, because I was one of the few employees, and the HR manager told me at the time, she said I was one of the few employees that worked at the township that was qualified to do what I'm supposed to do. Everybody else got their job through Frank or somebody else. I was one of the very few that didn't get my job through Frank. Like I told you, I didn't know Frank until I worked there. Yeah. But the thing is that I'm not like the other employees, because for one, this ain't about money for me.
Right.
You can offer me more money all you want to. That might work with somebody that works, in maintenance or something like that. I'm not like that. I don't like the way you're running this place. And I feel, and it was a sense of my health and my livelihood, because dudes were coming up in there with guns, they were having fist fights and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. It's madness up in here. Yeah. I'm used to a structured environment. I'm not used to all of this chaos. Right. So that was one of the reasons why. And I had told him that before, and he didn't want to do nothing about it. So I'm like, you know what? You cannot pay me enough to look out for my own mental health and just my health, period.
But some people can. Some people will walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake. Rahm Emanuel invited to the party.
You can't pay me enough for that.
Could have went to the party.
and maybe because I reached a level of maturity that's like, I'm not willing to sell my mind out. I'm not willing to sell my,
Here's the thing, man. It's the meme that's been floating around, and I've seen it like 4 times in the last 2 days. So I don't,
Yeah, we gotta get up out of it.
Yeah, I know we finna get out of it, but it's a very simple meme, and it says it takes 7 months to build a Rolls Royce. It takes 13 hours to build a Toyota, and most people are sharing this meme to qualify the value of the Rolls Royce. Mm-hmm. But in reality, the Toyota's gonna run for 100, 200,000 more miles than that actual Rolls Royce. It's a better built machine, but we're saying the value is in the luxury of the Rolls Royce. The argument I'm making is the goddamn car has an essential intrinsic value, which is to get you from A to fucking B. So the extra 100 to 200 more miles in the Toyota is really more valuable to me in what the car's necessity is than the goddamn luxury of the Rolls Royce. Because what's this car for? It's to get me from A to B. Not for me to look like luxury, right? But nobody that's sharing that meme is sharing it to push you to the idea that the Toyota has value, right? We got to change the values, the value idea of what it means to be us. And it's us specifically, right? Because we participate in the idea of this very transactional society while not having access to it. That's the dumbest shit in the world, right? So I don't never want to minimize the value of capital because you need it. To be here, you got to have it.
At some extent, you have to.
Surely, right? You got to have it, right? But because you're not part of the power source or the power demographic, you don't make none of them decisions.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So here you are essentially voting for or appealing to ideas that don't serve you. They don't serve you. We need capital, right? But just like all those other communities, we need to kind of circumvent the big system, create our own system to survive while still maintaining the intrinsic value of what blackness has been to America, which is to challenge the concept. We got to keep challenging the concept. That is the real fucking value. But we can't even get that in our house. Our houses, because we bought into that concept, right? Without having access. Now think about that, and I know we out of here. Mm-hmm. But if you buy into that concept and you don't have access, it deteriorates everything else in your household. Because you're looking at that household to run very much like a community, very much like a country. Not realizing neither of you motherfuckers have access to the idea you believe in. Mm-hmm. You're bound to fail. And it's cyclical.
Right. Well, there it is, man. I think by and large, even as we have this conversation, most people will take that Janet Jackson deal.
Janet took it, goddamn it. Jay was rich.
You know what I'm saying? Janet Jackson took the deal, and you can flip it around, put it on me.
Fuck me and get some money.
I want to just make it about women. Niggas would make that deal too.
Absolutely.
I joke all the time about what I do. Oprah
Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We gotta do better. We gotta think differently, and we gotta do better, man. Right now, we gotta go. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this live edition of Herb & Two. Brother Gardis, thank you for sliding through.
Hey, man, look.
Always appreciate you, my brother.
We got to consider this conversation.
Always a pleasure. I'm laughing at Pete. My bad, man. But yeah, I appreciate you coming through, man. You know you're always more than welcome. Come through and chop it up.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the show. As always, your input is valued. Certainly appreciated. Larry, we love y'all right back, man. Appreciate it, man. We'll be back later on this week for a relationship Friday.
Share the show, y'all. Share it. We're trying to grow this community.
The like button, please. The likes don't be coming near close to the views. Please hit the like button when y'all watch the show, whether you watch it live or watch it later. Please hit the like button. Check out the website. The website got some new merch featured on it too. You got some shit I ain't even got, bro.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we making a mockery of our positioning and standing. So this one here is called Not Top 5. You know what I mean? Not in your top 5.
Not top 5.
We got the top 5 black podcasts and then us under them.
Yeah. We got to go to the party. Maybe we get up there.
Yeah, maybe we get invited to the party.
We got to go, man. Appreciate y'all, man. For P, for Ron, for E, that's 2. I'm Herb. Special shout out to God for following through. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Salam alaikum.